Good day, everyone. Good day, Prof. X. And today we are going to report or discuss about our topic entitled Biodiversity and Health Society Concept Map of Group 5. Before that, I formally start our reporting, I would like to introduce our members or who are the speakers. Next. First, Arsenio Geraldine. Next, Belicilio Mitch Lester. Next is Boksit Jandel. Next, Devera Angeline. Next, next, next is Haranilia Krishna, Sevilla Annalise, and Sardalia Andrea. So let's move on to our concept map. So to formally start our concept map, what is the meaning of biodiversity? Biodiversity refers to the variety of living organisms like plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms and their ecosystems. It includes genetic diversity within species and the interaction between organisms and their environment. It provides essential services like clean air and water, food, and climate balance. So let's delve into more biodiversity. So biodiversity and human action. According to research by Roy, 2016, the Earth faces a serious threat of global mass extinction due to the increasing demand for natural resources. Biodiversity hotspots, areas rich in unique species and ecosystems, make up only about 2% of the Earth's land surface, but are home to more uh, than half of the world's endemic species. Next is biodiversity, diet, and health. A global perspective, Johns and uh, Azaquire 2006 explored the relationship between biodiversity, diet, and health. They found that as traditional diets are being replaced by processed, low-cost food products, agrobiodiversity is also declining. This change contributes to poor nutrition, leading to both nutrient deficiencies and increased roles of non-communicable diseases such as diabetes and heart disease. They argued that promoting diverse, local food systems and preserving traditional food cultures can help improve public health. Their case study is Sub-Saharan Africa showed how food biodiversity can support better nutrition through local and community-based strategies. Also, they also highlighted the need for policies that connect biodiversity conservation with nutrition goals such as the UN's Millennium Development Goals and the Convention on Biological Diversity. The researchers call for more attention to neglected and underused plants, which can provide important health benefits. It is very difficult to recover once traditional food knowledge is lost, making it urgent to document and preserve this knowledge now. Let's move on to the next branch.
To make it easier to understand, biodiversity is usually split into three main types. First, ecological diversity. This is all about the different homes for life. Think about the difference between a desert and a rainforest, a wetland and the deep ocean. Each of these places is a unique community that does important jobs for the planet. For example, forests help regulate our air and climate, and wetlands naturally clean our water and prevent floods. Second, species diversity. This one is probably what most of us think of. It's the variety of different species in, in a specific place. Scientists often measure This by counting how many different species are there. Generally, warmer places with good conditions tend to have more species, which makes the whole ecosystem stronger and more stable. Third, genetic diversity. This is the variety of genes within a single species. So, for example, all dogs are the same species, but they have a huge genetic diversity that give us everything from a Chihuahua to a Great Dane. This variation is super important because it allows species to adapt to changes like new diseases or shifting climate. When this genetic variety is lost, it's called genetic erosion, and it's a bigger problem, especially for farming and our food supply. So why does all this matter? Well, this amazing variety of life is what provides here we breathe, the food we eat, and the healthy planet. This is the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment comes in. It was a huge global study that tried to get a handle on how biodiversity loss affects the long-term service nature. Give us for free things like clean water, food, and clean air. The assessments pointed out that we need to track the health of biodiversity across all different kinds of environments, from the forest and grasslands to rivers and farmlands, and at every scale from our own backyards to the entire world. But here's the catch. The study also found the most of the tools we use to measure biodiversity are only used in small regional areas. We don't really have a consistent way to check the planet's vital signs across it all's different ecosystems. This shows that we desperately need a more united and wide-reaching approach to understand and protect the web of life that supports us all.
Okay, so let's proceed to benefits and positive impacts of biodiver- biodiversity on environment and society. So first, why is the biodiversity important? Biodiversity plays a vital role in maintaining the balance of life in the earth. It it supports everything in nature that we rely on, from the air we breathe and the food we eat, stability of ecosystem and the health of our planet. Additionally, to help us better understand the value and benefits of the biodiversity. So let's proceed to benefits. If you ask what is the benefit of biodiversity, biodiversity offers a genetic pool for developing resilience and sustainable food crops, livestock, and marine species. It plays a crucial role in breeding varieties resistant to pests, disease, and climate extremes. Utilizing this genetic potential enhance agriculture productivity and resilience, reduce, reducing depends on chemical inputs, and promoting sustainability practices. This not only improves food quality but also support community health and well-being. It also contributes to sustain in intensification, improve human nutrition, and provide source of medicine and vitamins. It also conserves soil and increase natural soil fertilize and health, reduce the pressure of agriculture on fragile areas, forests, and endangered species. What are the major benefits? Humans depends upon biodiversity for survival, such as the food we eat, medicine we use to stay healthy, and materials we wear to build our homes. These services are the tangible product or items that we and other species consume for survival. So let's proceed in positive impacts. The positive impacts are biodiversity's positive impacts include ecosystem services like climates and water regulation, and sustainable food supplies through pollination and disease-resistant crops.
So, first, what is biodiversity? Biodiversity is essential for maintaining balance in the environment and ensuring a sustainable world. However, with rapid technological development, industrial activities, and unsustainable practices like animal testing and overproduction, biodiversity continues to decline. To address these problems, international biodiversity protocols were established. These are agreements or guidelines created to conserve and sustainably manage our planet's biological resources. And now let's go through some of the major biodiversity protocols. First is the Convention on Biological Diversity or CBD, a global agreement that promotes biodiversity conservation, the sustainable use of its components, and the fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources. And second, the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety. This focuses on the safe handling, transport, and use of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs, to protect both biodiversity and human health. And third, the Nagoya Protocol. It ensures the fair and equitable sharing of benefits arising from the use of genetic resources. It also includes the access and benefit sharing system, which manages how genetic resources are used and how benefits are distributed, especially for indigenous and local communities. Fourth is CITES, or the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora. Regulates international trade of wildlife and plants to prevent overexploitation. And lastly, the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands. It promotes the conservation and wise use of wetlands, which are vital ecosystems for both biodiversity and human life. And the purpose and importance of these protocols are clear: to protect endangered species and ecosystems, to balance economic growth with environmental conservation, to promote international cooperation, and to ensure sustainable development for future generations. These biodiversity protocols remind us that protecting nature is a global responsibility, one that ensures a healthy and sustainable planet for all.
So moving moving on to health biology and biodiversity. This is the basic needs of living organisms such as air, water, food, and habitat are provided by its environment. Lacking of basic necessities is a significant cause of human mortality. Environmental hazard increase the risk of cancer, heart disease, asthma, and many other illnesses. The interrelation between human health and biological diversities is considerable and complex. So, biodiversity. Where, we have five threats of biodiversity. First, we have habitat loss. For example, deforestation in the Amazon rainforest for agriculture leading to the displacement of species like jaguars and monkeys. Next, um, alteration in ecosystem. I mean, wait, uh, next, alteration in ecosystem compositions. Introduction of invasive species such as the cane toad in Australia, which preys on native frogs and disrupts food chains. 3. Overexploit overhunting, overfishing, or over-collecting species. Overfishing of bluefin tuna in Mediterranean seas, causing pollution crashes and threats marine ecosystem. Pollution and contamination. Industrial runoff from factories into rivers like mercury populations in the Minamata Bay, Japan, poisoning fish and birds. Lastly, we have global climate change. Rising ocean temperature causing coral bleaching in the Great Barrier Reef, leading to the death of coral and lost biodiversities. Health connection. So we have health connection. It declines in biodiversity causes illness due to environmental hazard. Next, we have ecosystem. Uh, Next, we have environmental illnesses. Parkinson's disease, heart disease, asthma, cancer, diabetes, malaria, and depression. And next, lastly, we have ecosystem. Interaction of living and non-living components in an environment importance such as human survival depends on biodiversity for food, water, and air and shelter.
Good day, everyone. For my report, I'll be discussing the connection of biodiversity to health, illness, social impact, and genetically modified organism, or GMOs. This topic is very important because it shows how science, technology, and society are connected. Everything that happens in our environments affects not only nature, but also human health, our way of life, and even the food we eat. Let's start first with biodiversity and its connection to human health. When we say biodiversity, we mean the variety of life on Earth, including animals, plants, microorganisms, and the ecosystem where they live. Biodiversity provides the foundation for life. It gives us our food, clean air, water, medicine, and shelter. For example, most of the medicine we use today actually come from plants or natural organisms, like penicillin from fungi, aspirin from willow bark, and quinine from a tree used to treat malaria. So when biodiversity declines, we don't judge we don't just lose species, we lose health protection, food security, and natural medicine sources. How biodiversity affects health? Biodiversity affects health both directly and indirectly. Directly because nature provides us with the materials for medicine and nutrition. Indirectly because it regulates the environment, cleaning the air, filtering water, and controlling diseases. When we destroy forests, pollute the ocean, or poison the soil, we lose the natural system that keep us healthy. Let's take asthma as an example. When trees are cut down, the air becomes full of dust and pollution. These tiny particles irritate our lungs and trigger asthma attacks. So less biodiversity means more diseases caused by pollution and imbalance. Example of environment-related illnesses, asthma and lung disease due to air pollution, heart disease from toxic air and stress, cancer from chemical exposure, diabetes and obesity linked to an unhealthy built environment, and malaria due to changes in mosquito habitats, and lastly, depression and stress caused by the loss of green spaces. According to our STS module here in Canvas, environmental hazard increase the risk of cancer, asthma, heart disease, and many other illnesses. So the relationship between human health and biodiversity is strong. It's one of the most important reasons we must protect nature. Now let's move on to the social impact. Social impact of biodiversity loss. Environmental problems don't affect everyone equally. Usually, poor communities are the ones who suffer the most. Why? Because they live closer to areas with more pollution, like industrial zones, river filled with waste, or highways with heavy traffic. They also have less access to healthcare, clean drinking water, and education about environmental safety. As stated in our SDS, people with lower socioeconomic status are more exposed to harmful environmental conditions. For example, if a river gets polluted, fishermen lose their income. And another example, when forests are destroyed, farmers lose soil fertility. And last, if there's flooding due to deforestation, it's the poor families living in lowlands who lost their homes. So biodiversity loss is not just an environmental problem. It's also a social justice. Protecting the environment also means protecting people, especially the poor and vulnerable. Next, let's move on to the modern part of this topic, which is the genetically modified organism or GMOs. This is where science and technology directly affect society and biodiversity. What are GMOs? GMOs are living organisms whose DNA has been changed by scientists through a process called genetic engineering. This means their genetic material is modified in ways that don't happen naturally by mating or combination. According to the World Health Organization, 2014, a GMO is an organism, plant, animal, or microorganism in which the genetic material or DNA has been altered in a way that does not occur naturally. The development of GMOs was created to help humans in different industries like flood, farming, medicine, and even environmental protection. Uh, I give a short history and example. The term of genetic engineering was coined in 1951, and by 1973, scientists already created the first GMO, an antibiotic-resistant E. coli bacteria. A great local example is Rosalie Alasus, a Filipino farmer who used genetically modified corn. Her harvest increased from 4.2 tons to 7.2 tons per hectare, and she didn't even need insecticides. Her success shows that GMOs can improve productivity and reduce chemical use in agriculture. Now, let's talk about uses of GMOs. Based on our canvas, GMOs are used in food, agriculture, and other industry. In food and agriculture, first, pest resistance. Plants are modified to fight off harmful insects. Second, virus resistance. Crops are designed to resist viruses that damage harvest. Third, herbicide tolerance. They survive with killing chemicals that normal plants can't. Fourth, fortification. Crops are enriched with nutrients like golden rice with vitamin A. Uh, Fifth is cosmetic preservation. Plants are modified to resist discoloration or spoilage. Then lastly is increased growth rate. GMOs grow faster and produce higher yields. In non-food crops naman and microorganism, flower production, GMOs help flowers last longer and have brighter colors. Paper production, trees are modified for higher yield in paper manufacturing. Pharmaceutical production is GMOs help create medicines, insulin, and vaccine. And last, gene therapy and research used in medical studies to understand and cure disease. So GMOs have wide range of application, not only in agriculture but also in medicine, industry, and environmental science. Now let's move on to the connection of GMOs to biodiversity. GMOs are connected to genetic diversity, which is one part of biodiversity. When scientists modify genes, they create new genetic variation that can make plants stronger. However, if farmers rely only on a few GMOs crops, we risk long losing traditional plant varieties, which can weaken their natural balance. For example, if everyone plants the same GMO corn, a single new pest could destroy it, causing massive crop loss. That's why it's important to maintain both biotechnology and natural biodiversity together. Now let's move on to the benefits of GMOs. Here are the key benefits. Is first is higher efficiency in farming. Since the components of plant can be altered, farmers can ensure better quality and quantity. Next, less use of herbicides and pesticides. GMO crops protect themselves from pests, reducing chemical use and farming costs. Third is increased harvest and growth rate. More yield means better food supply and profit for farmers. Fourth is resistance to pests and disease. Crops like British corn and virus-resistant plants have a higher survival rate. Next is control and fertility. Scientists can manage how and when crops reproduce to maintain sustainability. Next, seed purity. Controlling the quality of GMO seeds ensure consistent high yield. Next, easier food processing. Altered traits make food production and preservation more efficient. Next, improvement of characteristic. GMO crops can have longer shelf life, enhanced color, taste, and texture. Next is nutritional and pharmaceutical enhancement. Crops like maize fortified with lysine and golden rice with vitamin A help fight malnutrition. There are even edible vaccines being developed for viral and diarrheal diseases. Last is the reduces uses of fertilizer. Some GMOs absorb nutrients for efficiently helping protect the soil. In short, GMOs help increase food supplies, improve nutrition, and support sustainable farming. Now, let's move on to the risks of GMOs. However, not everything about GMOs is good. There are also risks and concern, as mentioned in our module. So, allergic reaction is one of risks of GMOs because some people may be allergic to new proteins in GMO foods. Next is gene mutation. The modified DNA might behave in unexpected ways. Next is antibiotic resistance. GMO can pass on resistance genes to bacteria. Next is reduced nutritional value. Some modified foods may lose natural nutrients. The next is the long-term effects. We don't fully know how GMOs affects health or the environment over time. Lastly is the mutation of engineered organism. Modified genes can behave unpredictably or spread to wild species. Now, let's move on to biosafety and international protocols. To ensure safety, there are international organizations that regulate GMOs use. Uh, there are two is the Codex Alimentarius Commission, meaning is set food safety standard for GMOs worldwide. Last is the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, means is an international treaty that ensure the safety handling, transport, and use genetically modified organisms. So, it also aims to protect biodiversity and human health while promoting conservation, sustainable use, and fair sharing of the benefits from genetic resources. So, these protocols remind us that science must always be guided by ethics, safety, and responsibility. To sum it all up, biodiversity is essential to life because it keeps our environment balanced and our bodies healthy. When we lose it, we face disease, pollution, inequality. On the other hand, GMOs show how science and technology can improve food production and human health. But they also remind us that innovation should always be safe, sustainable, and fair. It's important to remember then that science is not just about discovery, it's about using knowledge responsibly to improve life without harming others or the planet. So now let's move on to the next topic, which we will discuss, Mr. Belosilio. Thank you.
So, let's go backtrack to one of the biodiversity concept, specifically the Convention on Biological Diversity, or CBD. This is discussed by Ms. Sibilia, but this is only additional information. So, it is adopted in 1992 at the Rio Earth Summit. The Convention on Biological Diversity is a global treaty that aims to address one of the world's most pressing environmental issues, which is the loss of biodiversity. It serves as an international framework that encourages all nations to take responsibility in protecting the variety of life on Earth. So, the CBD has three main goals. First is the conservation of biodiversity. So, what does it mean? This means protecting the wide range of ecosystems, species, and genetic resources found on our planet. It emphasizes the need to preserve natural habitats and prevent the extinction of species caused by human activities such as deforestation, pollution, and overexploitation. Second, sustainable use of its components. So this goal promotes the responsible and balanced use of natural resources. It reminds us that we can use biodiversity for food, medicine, and materials, but in a way that doesn't compromise the needs of future generations. In other words, it's about using nature wisely while ensuring it can still regenerate and support life. Lastly, fair and equitable sharing of benefits. This focuses on ensuring that benefits derived from biodiversity, such as genetic resources and traditional knowledge, are shared fairly among countries and communities. It recognizes the rights of indigenous peoples and local communities who play a key role in maintaining biodiversity. Overall, the Convention on Biological Diversity encourages cooperation among nations to create policies and actions that protect life on Earth. It highlights that biodiversity is not just about plants and animals. It's also deeply connected to human survival, well-being, and development.
So again, we will be backtracking to what Andrea mentioned before, which is the key biodiversity protocols, which is mentioned to be um, the Cartagena Protocol on Biosafety, which was made during or in on the year of 2000. So this protocol ensures the safe handling and transport of genetically modified organisms or GMOs, which uh, ensures that the GMOs are properly handled and properly checked. So what is its main goal? Its main goal is to protect biodiversity and human health from potential risks caused by GMOs that move across borders. So GMO uh is uh is the genetically modified organism. So this includes genetically modified crops for agriculture, and of course, as humans need food to survive. So um these products are circulating um all around the world. So it is important to for us to handle it correctly and safely for us to consume products properly. So the next protocol for or the next key biodiversity protocol, which is the Nagoya Protocol, which was made during or um, which was made during the year of 2010. So this agreement promotes the fair and equitable sharing of benefits that come from using genetic source resources such as plants, animals, and microbes. So it also recognizes and respects the rights of indigenous communities who have traditional knowledge about these resources. So the last mentioned key biodiversity protocol is the Nagoya Kuala Lumpur Supplementary Protocol. Um, this this one deals with the liability and compensation, meaning that if GMOs cause harm to biodiversity, responsible parties must take action and provide remedies. So this ensures that the failure or mistakes that will be made during the modifying of organisms is to be compensated. This is like a safety uh prevention or solution for those that will be affected by the GMOs. So it was also mentioned uh Andrea also mentioned this, which was the approaches of biodiversity. So conservation approaches, this includes the protocol still, the sites which was explained by Sevilla is one of an example that um, has a conservation approach. So for sites, it is a species-based conservation that focuses on individual species, especially endangered ones, and the area-based conservation, which is to protect entire ecosystems, is under the CBD, which was explained by Mitch and Sevilla. For the sustainable use of biodiversity, biodiversity supports agriculture, forestry, and fisheries. So the foundation of human survival is, again, food. So it is a need for us humans to eat. So agriculture and forestry is, or fishery forestry is important for us. So did you know that 75% of the crop genetic diversity has been lost due to monocultures? To address this, Addis Ababa principles and guidelines were developed. They promote responsible, sustainable use of biological resources that ensures that today's needs don't compromise those future generations. So another example of uh, the use or the importance of protocols is the fair and equitable benefit sharing, which is supported by the Nagoya Protocol that ensures fair sharing of benefits from genetic resources is properly distributed. So this means that countries or communities providing these resources and their traditional knowledge receive fair compensation. This promotes cooperation, conservation, and respect for indigenous and local communities. So, it was mentioned that GMOs are one of the technology um, that is new or has been developed for us to uh, make farming more efficient or make the production of agricultural plants more or abundant. So this the technologies that is included in the GMO is the biotechnology, synthetic technology, and digital sequence information, which is the DSI. This offers exciting opportunities but also potential risks. So another role of the protocol of the Convention of um, Biological Diversity and Cartagena protocol is to ensure these technologies are used safely, ethically, and sustainably. This leads to the protection of ecosystem from unintended harm. So, um, biodiversity is a broad topic. So, what what will be the future, or what can we see for the future of global biodiversity? Looking ahead, the post 2020 Global Biodiversity Framework aims to achieve the 2050 vision of living in harmony with nature. So it focuses on restoring ecosystems, preventing extinction, and linking biodiversity conservation with global health and sustainability goals. So, biodiversity is the foundation of life on Earth. By following these protocols, we can work together to protect our planet, ensuring that future generations inherit a world rich in life, balance, and beauty. So, to conclude our presentation for our concept map, um, biodiversity is again a broad topic. It includes all the explanation for all living organisms, that includes us humans and the society we live in. There is a concept in a movie that correlates to this, which is the circle of life. Within that concept, it means that everything is connected. So if there are risks, or if the biodiversity is compromised, the health of the community and society will be compromised also. So to protect but the or to protect and develop the health of our biodiversity, the protocols that were mentioned before will be helpful to us to ensure that um, the biodiversity is sustainably kept. So let me connect this topic to our program right now, which is civil engineering. So as a civil engineer, we are taught that sustainable programs like the SDGs is important for us to follow. This ensures that the biodiversity of our planet is kept safe and um, sustainable for future generations. Uh, of course, it is also important for us to, since habitat loss or land uh, problems are often um, often often uh, talked about, and is a topic here in biodiversity, which is the habitat loss. For us civil engineers, it is important to consider, since animals are also or animals and plants, and all living organisms are important to keep the biodiversity going, which the phrase or concept of circle of life comes in. So that's all for the conclusion.
Ayan, alright. So, I hope you guys watch the whole video at this very end. And I hope napakinggan nyo yung lahat kasi we have a surprise for you. If only you follow our instruction. So, uh, we have a game. the first one who uh, chat to our GC with Sir Nixon or Professor X uh, will get a surprise. So the word is final group 5. No, no, no. Finals group 5 lang sa kalam on our GC. And if you correctly sent it to our GC, I will react heart. It means you won the game. Okay? That's it.